Have you ever wondered how the Madagascar movies were successful and they even had a TV show? Well, I know why. We needed the penguins that go by names such as Skipper, Kowalski, Private, and Rico to tell their backstory and the adventures they go on. What a lot of people don't know is that the show was only meant to have a season 1. But did you know for a fact that there was a weird lost episode of the series? Well, you will eventually hear about it. Hello. My name is Chloe Carmichael. I'm a 10-year-old girl who's Timmy Turner's next door neighbor. When it comes to weird TV series with title cards, you'll never know if it's full of nightmare fuel or whatever. I have sometimes had problems when TV shows played an episode that doesn't work or look interesting to me. There was an episode of The Penguins of Madagascar that I managed to encounter myself. It seemed pretty funny enough throughout the entire episode. One evening, my parents went out on a party at a friend's house for the rest of the night. The only ones at home were me and my brother named Ben. I almost forgot about a special surprise that I had planned to give him. So I went on eBay and searched for a Dora Explorer DVDs. At the very bottom of the third page, there was a DVD named The Penguins of Madagascar Lost Episode, poorly written in blue Sharpie, and the DVD itself had no case and it looked very burnt. The good thing about it was only 20 cents. I thought that to myself it could be too good to be true. So I bought it along with the Dora Explorer DVD. Both of them arrived in just 5 minutes, quicker than I thought, I said to my mind. So I went upstairs with Ben and popped it into the DVD player. The little menu came up and I went to the episode selection screen. I saw that Dora DVD only had 5 episodes. So I picked the first one, the left of the room, so he could watch the Dora while I ate dinner. When I was done eating spaghetti, the lights flickered and the power went out for a minute. Ghosts? I've asked myself. Oh well, there's a strong windstorm a week ago. Yeah, that's when I was about to eat my chicken noodle soup. Ben just burst in the kitchen, looking as pale as a sheet. Chloe, his voice seemed weak. Are you okay? I asked. Worried, I felt his forehead and noticed that his temperature had gone up. Why did King Julien push his girlfriend into the lava? My heart sank to the rock bottom, like a stone, but soon I brushed it off. At first I noticed that the Penguins of Madagascar DVD off the internet. Oh, I'm sure King Julien didn't push his girlfriend into the lava. That's probably just your imagination, I reassured him. Now you need some rest and some medicine, I said, and we go to the living room. After putting him to bed, I watched some of Class 3000 in my room. 25 minutes later, I got curious as to what he saw, so I went upstairs and popped the DVD into the DVD player and began to play. I went to the episode selection screen and tried all the episodes. However, I noticed only one episode worked, and that's when I selected it. Man, I wish I could go back in time and take that back. The theme song was distorted, and the animation was a bit blurry, from what I could recall some scenes. The episode was called King Julien's Crush, with King Julien looking at the screen with his eyes wide open, while happy to have an expression on his face. The episode started with the penguins at the food mart, stealing some peanut butter Winkies. Private was hijacking a soda vending machine, while he saw King Julien walking down the streets of New York City. Private was just sitting there, smiling as if it was all normal. Also, there was no music except for faint static. Then the screen then fades to another scene with Maurice, speaking to Mort, but the only problem was the audio was reversed. Luckily, I have a sound recorder, so I recorded the conversation and reversed it. Here's what I heard and Rick Brown. Mort, what's up, Maurice? Maurice, I've had a very bad day. Mort, why? Maurice, I am a horrible bodyguard. Then Maurice starts crying, but it was not normal cartoon crying. The crying sounded absolutely painted and miserable. I couldn't believe what I was watching. I tried to turn off the TV, but I wanted to see how it ended. The screen then went to static for a few minutes, and that's when everything turned for the worse. I actually saw Kowalski, now in Penguin Lair, destroying one of the pipes. Not only that, he takes in an axe and cuts off Rico's doll heads. Realistic blood pours out of the neck stump. Skipper, along with Rico and Private, soon noticed this, and here's how the conversation went. Skipper, why did you forget to pay the water bill? Private, we are zoo animals. Like us, we don't pay bills. Rico then spits out a pipe out of his mouth. Thanks, Rico. Now we'll have our water in our lair again. As Skipper, Private, and Rico then looked at their brand new pipe, Kowalski breaks crying instantly. It didn't sound like usual cartoon crying. It sounded realistic, painted crying, almost like the voice actor was actually sad. Kowalski, what's the matter? Skipper asks. Oh, Skipper, it's horrible. King Julien is bringing his girlfriend by the name of Vicky over, and she'll do horrible things to us, Kowalski cries out. In the next scene, it was raining out at Central Park Zoo, and the car pulls up to the gates of the zoo, driven by Norman Osborn from Spider-Man movies, and with assistant Vicky, King Julien's crush, told Norman that she'll meet Julien at the zoo once, and the planning used for his feelings for her to get him to buy insurance policy. Inside a roof of King Julien's hut, he is leaking, and meanwhile he was waiting for a roofer to come and fix it, getting ready for his date with Diana. Back at Penguin Lair, Kowalski was watching an episode of Charlie and Lola, while Skipper was bored and beyond belief of what he was willing to do to another crime with Private. It then cut back to King Julien's hut, and as King Julien lets Vicky in, he is then hit by a ball that Mort froze for Maurice and Fetch. King Julien then tells him not to annoy him or Vicky. I fast forward enough through the episode to see what Ben told me about King Julien tossing Vicky into the lava. When I got to the scene, King Julien pushed Vicky's back down to the lava where she went. Then it went to the credits. It looked like it was written by a third grader. The writing looked like someone wrote it with the brown Crazy Art crayon, but I only recognized Tom McGrath and Eric Darnell's names as they were worked on the original movies. The rest were people I have never heard of. The copyright notice that said copyright 2005 and DreamWorks Animation, which was odd because the show didn't begin until 2009. I mean, the strange DVD had a weird front cover with Vicky being murdered, Dad Kowalski in a rage scene, my brother having a fever, everything that has confiscated the VHS and stomped it off like a Hispanic man would on the contempt of refried beans. I felt confused and lost and disheveled. They explained that the item at DreamWorks Animation named Tom McGrath had left the microphone on playing with a Barbie doll. They explained the whole "he'll take your eyes" I bit I heard earlier, and also has been stabbed in the thumb with a stapler, rather jokingly by a co-writer who was aiming the pen and paper, but accidentally stabbed him. The whole umbilical brain thing was supposed to be a tie-in for a new Taco Bell promotion team. The brain Koopa, a delicious just quarter pound of cow brain in delicious mole meat with sour cream. It made sense, I guess. The Barbie doll was also one of the toys that was going to come to Brain Koopa Kids Pack, which it didn't really make sense because the production costs would have been in the thousands. But they assured me that it was a prototype and the real one would have been cheap knockoff assembled into a Chinese sweet shop. Living there, alone, cold, and couchless, there was nothing else on the tape that I could explain that I smashed it. In fact, maybe if you're one of those collectors, maybe you're the one reflecting light, and you have spent many years in pain that you couldn't even see it. After all, a lost episode comes after rain. Maybe it's more important that people don't see you in an actor on stage, but who you truly are. The people were right, and had spent many years in pain myself. I couldn't see anyone else breaking down around me, so I have been the illusion that people want to see. It turns out that I wasn't really much of a collector, and was simply just infected with, some diagnosis. But a few days later, I was watching the Ellen DeGeneres show on the other room, and I wasn't simply thinking about it. That wasn't until I heard the words, "Oh, and by the way, I'm really enjoying this brand new couch." I squinted very hard as it was Ellen DeGeneres using my couch. I even recognized the gimp leg. It wasn't Ellen. It wasn't Ellen at all. And that, my little pretties, was King Julien's Crush. A Madagascar funny pasta. written by Ashley Armbruster. My final thoughts on this story? Okay. I think I'm going to sit there and, kind of, explain, more into this. So I am going to be as well, I'm just going to be completely honest. Now, when I first heard this story, I believe it was on, who was it? Oh, yeah, Dave's channel. I decided to go check out this story, and, I'm going to be honest, I haven't seen Madagascar in, like, a really, really, really long time. I really haven't seen, Madagascar in, like, years. Like, I haven't watched the movie or anything in, like, a long time. I like the first movie, but I also really like the second movie. But, yeah. But getting back to, like, the whole review, I really do, find this story to be quite funny. Now, I know this is like a funny pasta or troll pasta, so of course it's been, meant to be silly. Like seeing how, King Julien, throwing, his girlfriend in the lava when we don't get that. Like, I know it's a funny pasta, and I know funny pastas really do tend to, well, be, I guess kind of be silly. So I really would have to say the story was definitely quite silly. Like, especially with the whole concept of how everything went out. It's still pretty funny. I really remember reading this story, and to be honest, it's actually pretty funny, to be completely honest. I really do like how the story went out. Although I would have to say the grammar is pretty good, along with the sentence structuring and the storyline. However, I would have to say that I really found this one to be funny in, some cases because of how silly it was. Now, I might be wrong on this one, I'm not entirely sure, but I really found this one to be quite funny. Like, basically, how it all went out. Like, with, the penguins of Madagascar, and, I would have to say there were some, grammatical errors in the story that kind of, well, didn't exactly, make a whole lot of sense. Like, I mean, there was a couple of grammatical errors in the story. The grammar was mostly good. I did spot a few grammatical errors, and I did spot a few, sentence structuring errors. Like, I think there was, like, certain parts that there was, like, I believe there were, like, run-on sentences. So, there's definitely that. So, the story itself was a bit hard to read. But other than that, the story actually provided pretty good detail, especially how funny it was. Now, I did read it a few times before I actually go ahead and narrate it, which is what I just did. So, really would have to say it's still a pretty good story. I really found it to be, funny. Although I would have to say, it says it's meant to be a funny pasta on the categories, which I have to say it's still a very funny pasta. It's a pretty good pasta, and this actually makes me want to go watch Madagascar again. Although I really haven't seen that, movie, like the first two Madagascar movies in years. I really still have to say that it's actually pretty good for what it is. So I'm really gonna, be completely honest with, the concept itself was actually, it's quite, and with the funny pastas, they really, make fun of, stuff that, are cliches and that. And the fact that, King Julien, froze it, his girlfriend in, like, lava. Like, we don't get that scene. I don't understand why we didn't get it. So that's probably one of the only issues that I have to say. Like, if King Julien froze his girlfriend in the lake, lava, why don't we not get that? Like, it just didn't, I don't know, it just really didn't make sense right there. I know it's meant to be a funny pasta, I know it's a funny pasta, so I'm not going to be too harsh. I'm just stating the facts of this. Like, I really would have to say, it's not a terrible story. It's a pretty good one, in fact. I really do like it. But there was, like, a few, things that I really would have to say that it's, pretty messed up, in my opinion. But, well, in my opinion, this story was quite funny. Like, I know there were some messed up, I know it was messed up at certain parts. Like, it's actually quite funny. So, I know it really doesn't make, I know I don't usually do these reviews, on funny pastas really much. Well, I do, but I don't really have too much to say when it comes to funny pastas because, you know, there's like certain characters that played out well. The jokes in this are like spaced out, just kind of like how Matthew Bumford's stories are. Like, I know Matthew Bumford's stories, you know, are spaced out, but I could definitely say that's definitely something. I really would have to say the story itself is like pretty good. Like the grammar was good along with the sentence structuring, although there were a couple grammatical errors in the story, so I kind of stuttered a little bit because of that. The same thing with the sentence structuring. I think there was like a few run-on sentences, but other than that, the story was actually pretty well made, and it actually provided pretty good detail. It's decent and all that, so I'm really gonna have to say this right now. Really do like how this story went out. It's a pretty good concept. Now, I'm gonna sit here and kind of wrap up this funny pasta. So to wrap up the review, I'm gonna say this. Like I'm gonna say right now, and like I always continue to say, this is simply my own personal opinion, and if you happen to disagree with me, that's fine too. We're all entitled to our own opinions regards to these funny pastas or creepy pastas, whatever you prefer to call this one. And this is just simply my own personal thoughts. My final rating of the story would have to be I'm gonna give this one a 9 out of 10. Mainly a 9 because there were a few grammatical errors, and there was like a couple sentence structuring errors and punctuation errors I did see. But there's also the part that, you know, King Julien throws his girlfriend in the lava. We don't get that explanation on why he does it or anything like that. I know it's a funny pasta, but I thought, you know, I just point that out there. So I know, I could tell that this is like an older story, so I'm not going to go too harsh. So, yeah. But anyways, that being the case, that being said, what did you guys think about this, funny pasta? Did you all enjoy it? Did you all not? Also, what we have done personally to help make this story a lot better. Feel free to leave me know what your thoughts are down in the comment section down below. I'm the Queen of Lions. Thank you so much for watching today's episode. And if you happen to be brand new here on this channel, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe because I make brand new videos every single day. Don't forget to ring the notification bell to when I upload, and you guys will not miss an upload. And as always, please roll the outro because I'm out.